to the next point. We should ensure whatever we see is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
Good day, learners. You are welcome to yet another segment of our e-learning organized by Kaduna State Ministry of Education. I am Monday Bokwai. I'll be taking you through the subject mathematics. And under the subject, the topic we'll be considering this moment is number system. We've been doing number system for previous topics. Our subtopics for today's segment will be equations involving number bases. Equations involving number bases. Now, to solve equations involving number bases, we convert all the bases to base 10, and then we solve. And then, my learners, you should take note that some result may have two answers for an unknown, as some equation could lead to quadratic equation. So when one of the result is negative, neglect it and pick the positive answer, as we don't have a negative base. Now let's cite examples involving equations in number bases. The examples are as follows. Solve each of the following equations. Question A, 22 base x equals to 33 base 5. 22 base x equals to 33 base 5. Question B, 314 base 10 minus 256 base 7 equals 340 base x. Question B again, 314 base 10 minus 256 base 7 equals 340 base x. Question C, 34 base x equals to 54 base 8. 34 base x equals to 54 base 8. And then question D, 1011 base 2, 1011 base 2 plus x. Then question E, we have 244 base n equals to 1022 base 4. Solution. Solution to question A, we have 22 base x equals to 33 base 5. From my introduction, I clearly spell out that we'll convert all the bases to base 10. Convert all the bases to base 10. And you use a previous method to convert 22 base x to base 10. You use expanded method. And so, we have 2 times x raised to power 1 plus 2 times x raised to power 0 equals 3 times the base, which is 5. 3 times the base, which is 5 raised to power 1 plus 3 times 5 raised to power 0. Expanding it out, we have 2 times x to power 1 is x. Any number raised to power 1 is the number. So x to power 1 is x. So we are having 2 times x plus x raised to power 0 is 1. X raised to power 0 is 1. Any number raised to power 0 is 1. So we have 2 times 1 equals 3 times 5 plus 3 times 1. Because 5 raised to power 0 is 1. 5 raised to power 0 is 1. So simplifying further, we have 2x plus 2, because 2 times x is 2x, plus 2 times 1 is 2. equals to 3 multiplying 5 is 15. 3 multiplying 5 is 15, plus 3 times 1 is 3. When you simplify further, you have collection of like terms. Collection of like terms. 2s plus 2 equals to 18 will now give us 2s equals to 18 minus 2. Positive become negative. When you are collecting like terms, when a number cross equality sign change from positive to negative and from negative to positive. That is why 18, that plus 2 become minus 2. Now if you subtract 2 from 18, the result will be 16. The coefficient of the unknown, which is 2, you divide through by the coefficient of the unknown. So if you divide through by 2, 2 divides 2 is 1, and 1 times x is x. Now 16 divided by 2, the result is 8. 16 divided by 2, the result is 8. Therefore, our x is 8. Our x is 8. Question number B now. We have 314 base 10 minus 256 base 7 equals to 340 base x. We move ahead. 314 is already in base 10. Learners, take note. You don't need to convert it because it is already in base 10. Is other bases that are not in base 10, you convert them to base 10 so that you have a uniform number basis. So the rule is convert all other bases to base 10. Now you have 314 already in base 10, so it remains 314 minus converting 256 base 7. The first step is 2 multiplying the base raised to power 2. And perhaps you have forgotten how do we arrive at the raised to power 2. Our 2, it will be 2 digits after the number 2. We have 5 and 6, so you have 2 digits. So it will be 2 times 7 raised to power 2 plus the next is 5 multiplying by 7 raised to power 1 plus 6 times 7 raised to power 0, capital bracket. That is just to convert 256 base 7 to base 10. Now equals to 340 base x. Converting it to base 10, we have 3 multiplying x raised to power 2 because the base is x plus 4 times x raised to power 1 plus 0 times x raised to power 0. Now when we move ahead in simplifying, we have 314 minus capital bracket 7 raised to power 2 is 7 times 7, and that gives 49. So we have 2 times 49 plus 7 raised to power 1 is 7. So we have 5 times 7 plus 7 raised to power 0 is 1. So we are having 6 times 1 equals to the right hand side we have x squared multiplying by 3, you have 3x squared plus 4 times x raised to power 1, the result will be 4x. And then x raised to power 0 is 1, and then 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. It is a number raised to power 0 that gives you 1. But then 0 multiplying any number is 0. So we have 0 times x to power 0 give you 0. So we only have 3x squared plus 4x. Now simplifying the left hand side, we have 314 minus, if you multiply 2 times 49, you arrive at 98. 5 times 7, you have 35, plus 6 times 1 is 6. Summing them together, you'll be having 314 minus 139. 314 minus 139 equals 3x squared plus 4x. 3x squared plus 4x. Now, immediately you arrive at an equation that is having square. You should know that the equation is quadratic because it is a second order equation. A quadratic equation is a second order equation in the sense that the highest power involved is 2, or the highest index involved is 2. Now, continuing by simplifying, we'll be having 3x squared plus 4x minus 175 equals 0. So this is the general form of a quadratic equation. Now, you move ahead to solve it. You are at the liberty of using any method. You can use factorization, you can use formula method, you can use completing the square. If you like, even go ahead with graphical method. You will still arrive at the same answer. Now, in this case, I use factorization method. So the factors of the product of 3 and 175 will give you minus 21x plus 25x, minus 21x plus 25x. So instead of 4x, look at the middle term very well. My colleague sometimes taught you quadratic equation. You replace the middle term by the factors whose give you the sum to be equivalent to the middle term. So 25x minus 21x gives you 4x, and then you have 4x in the middle. When you have substituted the middle term by the factors, you group them in pairs. Group them in pairs. When you group them in pairs, you factorize. So 3x squared minus 21, the highest common factor is 3x. So you bring the HCF outside, which is 3x into x minus 7. 21x divided by 3x is 7, while 3x squared divided by 3x is x. Then plus 25 and 175, the HCF is 25. So you factor the HCF out, you have 25 into x minus 7 equals to 0. Now observe, my learners, that the first bracket is x minus 7, the second bracket is also x minus 7. If it is not the same, you should recall that something somewhere is wrong. Now you have the same values in the first bracket, the second value, the same thing. Now we refactorize. The common factor is x minus 7. You bring it out. What is the term left in the first term is 3x plus. The term left in the second term is 25 equals to 0. Now, if you continue to solve, when the product of two numbers is 0, then one of those numbers must be 0. So if x minus 7 times 3x plus 25 is 0, it means either x minus 7 is 0 or 3x plus 25 is 0. Otherwise, the equation can never be 0. So in this case, you solve by simple linear equation because x index is 1. So it is a linear equation. So x will be plus 7 or 3x equals to minus 25. If you simplify, the fractional part is neglected. You can't have a base that is fraction. So therefore, in this case, our x equals to 7 because it can never be negative, no mixed number. Question number C. Question number C now. We have 134 base x. 134 base x equals to 54 base 8. 134 base x equals to 54 base 8. Convert everything to base 10. As the rule, we have 1 multiplying the base, which is x raised to power 2, 2 digits after 1. Then plus the next digit is 3 multiplying the base raised to power 1 plus 4 times the base, which is x raised to power 0, equivalent to 54 base 8 must equally be converted because it is not in base 10. So we have 5 times 8 raised to power 1 plus 4 times 8 raised to power 0. Now when you simplify out, we have 1 times x squared is x squared, plus x raised to the power 1 is x. So x times 3, you have 3x, plus x raised to the power 0 is 1. So 4 times 1, you'll be having 4, equals to 8 raised to the power 1 is 8. And if you multiply 5 by 8, you'll be having 40, plus 8 raised to the power 0 is 1. 8 raised to the power 0 is 1. So 4 times 1 is 4. Simplifying further, we will now be having x squared plus 3s plus 4 equals to 40 plus 4. That gives us x squared plus 3x plus 4 equals to 44, because 40 plus 4 is 44. Equate by collecting like terms so that you have a general form of quadratic equation. We now have s squared plus 3s plus 4. 44 will cross to the left hand side to become minus 44 equals to 0. So we have x squared plus 3x. 4 minus 44 is minus 40. It's like you are owing somebody 44, you have 4. If you pay, you are still owing 40. So we are having x squared plus 3x minus 40 equals to 0. Quadratic equation. Factorization method. If you like use completing the square, if you like use formula method, if you like use graphical method. But for convenience, I use factorization method because it is factorizable. And learners, you should take note. There are some questions that you cannot factorize. So you have no alternative than to use formula method or completing the square or graphical method. But most of the questions in number basis will always be factorizable because we want a single digit base. So in this case, x squared plus 3x minus 40 will be factorized. The factors of minus 40 that will give you plus 3, they are 8 and 5. 5 times 8, 40. Plus 8 times minus 5 will give you minus 40. When you subtract 5 from 8, you will get 3. And the middle term is 3x. So we now replace the middle term by the two factors. From the knowledge of your quadratic equation, we have x squared now plus 8x minus 5x minus 40 equals to 0. Group them in pairs, 2, 2. Group them in pairs and factorize. You now have x into s plus 8. You may wonder how it is x. It is the highest common factor. The highest common factor. It was done in junior level. You should remember that. Then the HCF also of the next two terms is minus 5. Then you have s plus 8 equals to 0. Now, you refactorizing now. There are two terms. We have x and s plus 8, also minus 5 into s plus 8. The common factor is now s plus 8. So you factor it out. So we have s plus 8. The first term, who is left? We are left with x. The second term, who is left? We are left with minus 5. So the digits are now grouped together. You have expanded form. Now, for two numbers to be equals, if they are product, then one of them must be 0. If a times b is 0, either a is 0 or b is 0. So in this case, my a is supposedly to be s plus 8 and my b is x minus 5. So it is either s plus 8 is 0 or s minus 5 is 0. Otherwise, the equation will not hold. The equilibrium will not hold. So in this case, positive 8 become negative 8, and then negative 5 become positive 5. So our s is either 8 minus 8 or plus 5. Now neglect the negative value because we don't have negative base in this case. Now our s will be 5 since s cannot be negative. We don't have negative base. Now, the next question, D, we'll be having 101, 1011 base 2 equals to x to base 7 minus 25. Minus 25. So, expanding out, you have 1 times 2 raised to the power 3, which is 8, plus any number raised to the power 0 is 1. But then 0 multiplying any number is 0. So you have 11 plus x equals to 25. When you collect your like terms, you have x equals to 25 minus 11. This is as simple as linear equation because it is not a second order equation. So our s in this case is 14. That is, our s will give us 14 base 7. Then let's move to the last question, question E. We have 244 base n equals 1022 base 4. 244 base n equals 1022 base 4. Learners, in this time around, the unknown is n. It is not a must that the unknown must be x. You should realize that the unknown can have any letter. It could be any letter. But mostly we don't use letter O because O in English language coincided with with 0 in mathematics. So there should be no any sense you will use 0 as a letter or O as a letter because it coincides with 0. So in this case we are using n as our base. So expanding 2 times n squared plus the next digit is 4 times n raised to the power 1 plus 4 times n raised to the power 0 equivalent to 1 times 4 raised to the power 3 plus 0 times 4 raised to the power 2 plus 2 times 4 raised to the power 1 plus 2 times 4 raised to the power 0. Expanding and simplifying, you have 2n squared plus 4n plus 4 equals to 64 plus 0 plus 8 plus 2. So we have 2n squared plus 4n plus 4 equals to 74. When you simplify, you have 2n squared plus 4n plus 4 minus 74 equals to 0. You arrive at quadratic equation again. So factorizing, we'll be having 2n squared plus 4n minus 70 factorized to give us n into n plus 7, n minus 5, because the factors are 7n minus 5n. Then when you factorize, you have n plus 7, n minus 5. So either n plus 7 is 0 or n minus 5 equals 0. Our n is minus 7 or 5. What do? Neglect the negative value because we don't deal with negative bases. So our n in this time will be 5. N equals to 5. Now, my dear learners, that comes to the end of our study today. But then before I go, I will leave an assignment for you to practice because practice makes perfect. Now, the assignment is as follows. Solve each of the following equations. Solve each of the following equations. Question A, 4, 7x equals to 124 base 5. 4, 7x equals to 124 base 5. Then B, 1, 2, 3 base y equals to 43 base 6. Question A again is 4, 7 base x equals to 124 base 5. B, 1, 2, 3 base y equals to 43 base 6. Then C, 116 base n equals to 78. If you do not see any base, you should know that it is automatically base 10. So it is 116 base n equals to 78 base 10. And then D, 132 base 5 equals to P base 6. The question again, so that you can grab it very well. Question A, 4, 7 base s equals to 124 base 5. 47 base S equals to 124 base 5. B, 123 base Y equals to 43 base 6. 123 base Y equals to 43 base 6. And then question C, 116 base N is 78. 116 base N equals to 78. Finally, D, 132 base 5. 132 base 5 equals to P base 6 equals to P base 6. Now the reference material, we have New General Mathematics for West Africa, book 1 and 3 by J.B. Chanom, and then we have Comprehensive Mathematics for Senior Secondary School. And then textual material 3, the Q&A, popularly known as Q&A, question and answers WAEC. You get most of these questions there. Now you solve your assignment, and then you can always send the assignment through my contact 080-2525-9755. 080-2525-9755. I am Monday Bakwe. Stay safe, keep learning, and God bless you.